This is what we will create in today's build, a fully automatic jacuzzi cover lift. It will make it easy to put the jacuzzi cover back without heavy lifting. Even if you're alone, it's easy to handle. And putting back the cover is easy like this. And the only thing that you need to do now is like push it back. And I think that works awesome. It's very user-friendly. It does exactly what it should do. And it's not a complicated build.
This project of the jacuzzi cover lift isn't really a big one. It's quite time-consuming. It isn't made of that many steps. To give it some structure, those are the steps that we're going to do. We will create the wooden frame and install the actuator. We will wire and configure an ESP8266 so that it can control the actuator. Of course, we will create an Home Assistant integration, but we also make it simple, controllable by a few buttons that can be placed next to the lift. At the end, we can simply attach the controller to the actuator that is installed in the jacuzzi cover lift, and we have a working build. And I think the introduction already confirmed that this is working awesome. But we also do a short wrap-up and evaluation at the end. And this build is part of a bigger project, the wellness area. And while it sounds luxurious, it isn't. It all started with an old used hot tub that I bought for about 300 euros on Marktplaats. And because I'm living in the forest, I wanted to heat it up with wood. So I arranged a water heater fueled by wood. And because it had quite some excessive heat, I built some simple saunas around it. And there is a lot of plumbing in the ground. Some pumps that are required to take care of the water flow. And at the end, I wanted to do more with the dynamic energy tariffs that I have, so that I can control the hot tub heating from my automation in Home Assistant, so that when the energy price is low or even negative, that it will consume electricity to heat up the tub. And for that, I had to hack around in the controller of the hot tub itself. But it's working nice. To bring some structure in that overall bigger project, I created this map of it. It gives an overview of all the components that I want to create some more detailed documentation about. So if you're interested in this, keep an eye on it. I hope that in the summer I will publish more about this bigger project. As for now, we're focused on the jacuzzi cover lift.
And also this project, it's not rocket science. I think that someday you will do rocket science. I'm already watching a lot of science fiction, so maybe that's even not a bad idea. Guys, focus, focus. Just build the cover lift. Sure, let's create this build. Because the weather is great, we start with the woodwork. We will create a stable table outside and mount the actuator. Then we do the electronics. We wire and code the ESP8266. We will create the automation in Home Assistant so that everything works via buttons on the dashboard. But we also create a few small buttons on the side of the table so that we can manually control it without interaction of Home Assistant. And I will not guide you through this project as detailed as the previous projects because I want to make the videos a bit shorter. If you have questions about specific parts, then let me know. I'll try to help you out via the comments. And I moved the table to the front of the hot tub so that it is easier to test there and to explain you things. Afterwards, I will move it to the other side of the tub so that I can have a nice bench on the front. As for now, we start with the woodwork and then I'll guide you through the rest of the steps and we evaluate at the end. I'm really curious if you will create this build by yourself because I think it is really handy. It eliminates all the heavy lifting and it makes it more attractive to just use the hot tub once in a while, a bit more than before. So let's now really start the build. Let's go to the woodwork.
As already said, the jacuzzi cover lift isn't a complicated build. So I'm not going through the woodwork in detail. But in this time lapse, I'll guide you through a little bit. You can see it slowly taking shape as I go, piece by piece. Most of this is pretty straightforward. Measuring things out, cutting it quickly, then I go over it with a sanding disc to smooth everything out a bit and clean up the edges. And pre-drill some holes in the wood so that it's not splitting or cracking. Nothing too fancy, just taking time to get it straight. Make sure it feels solid and adjust things where needed along the way. And at some point it just starts to come together and you actually see the idea turning into something real. And now we have a solid frame. It's time to select the best place for the actuator. The actuator will push up the table so that the jacuzzi cover will be pushed up. And for this, I'm first identifying the correct place to install the actuator. I'm turning around the top of the table so that we can install the part that will connect the actuator with the tabletop. You see that there is some additional wooden board on it. It's to make the part that goes up more rigid. As you can see here, on the other side I'm mounting the hinges. And you see that I clamped the other side with some glue clamps, so that when I'm mounting the hinges, the wooden board cannot slide away. Everything is installed and the actuator works. Let's put it to the test. Here I'm sitting at the table and let's see if it can put my 72 kilograms up. That works awesome. The jacuzzi cover weighs way less, so that will be a piece of cake for the actuator. And I think you'll recognize throughout the video. Like, the image quality is good, but I had a lot of issues with the color, or better said the brightness of the recording of my primary camera. My secondary camera was way better, but as it is about the project itself, I didn't went that far to make new recordings. So it is what it is, and next project I will see if I can get my footage in a better quality.
Now let's quickly go to the section about the ESP8266 and the components that I used for this project. Because I want to make my videos a bit shorter, I will not go into detail about flashing the ESP with the YAML code. The YAML code will be available on my website. And if you're familiar with Home Assistant, you can simply integrate it there. But out of the box, it will already work with the two buttons for up and down. Same as for my other builds. A detailed component overview and wiring diagrams will be available on my website as well. Now let's go over the components and I'll show you how everything works together. Unfortunately, the build became a bit messier than I had in mind at the start. I planned it with a 2-channel switchboard and I ended up by using a 4-channel one because I had some issues with the wiring. But as it is working flawless with a 4-channel board, I'm using that one in the final documentation of this project. And I'm really happy with the end result, how it is working as a test on my desk. Here I'm testing the complete device by pressing the up and down button. And as you see, the actuator extracts and retracts. And I think having the up and down button as a separate device from the Home Assistant integration is very convenient. If you want to use the hot tub cover, it's not necessary to use your phone. You can simply press those buttons. Then it's created with 2 small switches. And the 3D printed housing. Everything will be available on my website so that you can download it and you can make the prints by yourself. And although not everything went as smooth as I expected at the start, this was still a fun project to build. And I learned a lot about the abilities and disabilities of the electronics that I used for this project. So I hope that that helps me in creating better videos for my future projects. As for this chapter, the device works exactly as it should. So let's go outside. And I'm not spending more time on the actual installation outside, because that is simply connecting the actuator to the terminal blocks on the device that we just created. And depending on where you put the hot tub cover lift, you can decide by yourself what the best place is for this up and down button. So let's go outside and do the evaluation and wrap up of this project. It's time to wrap up the jacuzzi or hot tub cover lift. And I really like this project because it was not only electronics but also woodwork this time. And while I had some issues along the way, it worked out nice. Nice story, John, but you completely forget to show how it's actually working now. How easy it is to put the cover back and what the additional advantages are. So this is a small fragment of how it worked before. I'll slide it away and put it on the side of the tub. But then it's blocking the view on one of the sides. Of course you can move it away further, but then you need to carry it back when you want to close it. And as you see here, it's quite a struggle to put it back. And now I'm quite fit, so it's not that a big deal. But it's nice if that can be made more convenient, right? And before creating this myself, I searched around to have an idea what is on the market. And there are some commercial products. The majority of them will have the top standing next to the tub, so that it is blocking the view on one of the sides, as you saw in my example. And because I really like to have the view open on all the sides, I wanted to prevent that option. And I found some videos of people who also created something by themselves. And I really like their creativity, but some were really complicated. And I hope you appreciate the simplicity in this design, because it is just a wooden table with a linear actuator, pushing it up on one side, making it really easy to push back the cover, as you see in the final result here. And this is also a really big benefit of the build. While the cover is laying on the lift, it can be used as a table to put on drinks, snacks or other accessories. And maybe that's even one of the most convenient things. Now back to the explanation outside. And I'm not going through the costs in detail, but here with the standard overview. About 50 euros on electronical components and about 100 euros on the wood. Of course there is some time involved to do the build, but when the weather is nice, it's a really cool build to do outside. Okay, it's not a really cheap build, but it's also not an expensive one. Looking at the benefits or the convenience, the comfort that you will have with this one. I really like my hot tub cover lift and I hope I will enjoy it a lot in the summer. If you like this build, then take a look at my other projects. In the meantime, there is a quite variety of topics. From energy efficiency to just a convenient speaker set selector, and there are several projects to come around the wellness area, like the wood heater, making use of dynamic tariffs, the sauna cabins, some nice lighting with WLED. I'm also thinking about making use of some solar panels to heat up the water. And please help me out by liking the video and become a subscriber. I'm still a beginning content creator, finding my way around, building nice, convenient, useful stuff. And I hope that it is useful for you as well. Let me know what you think in the comments, what you would like to see next. If there are things that can be done better, and if this build also works out for you as I had it in mind. And this is an improvement that I want to do for my cover lift. Give it a nice waterproof tabletop that stays pretty over time. As for now, thank you for watching. This was Forest Guy Builds. I'm John and I hope to see you in one of my next builds.